Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of the From Field to Freezer processing series by yours truly, the Home Cookin Hunter. So the doe that I shot this morning, I showed you guys how to field dress. Now I'm going to show you guys how to skin and quarter it, so then you can start your actual processing process. What you want to do first, some things you might want to have, is a good processing knife. This is a Bubba Blade 9-inch stiffy. I use this for a lot of my stuff, from deboning to quartering to skinning. I love this knife. It's easy to sharpen, and it's a good all-around knife for me. This is the style and the size blade that I like to use for my processing needs. Things you might want to use, if you have a good Granville block and tackle system, pulley system, this is what we like to use when we're quartering out and processing our deer. Now this right here is a leg spreader. This is a homemade one now. It's a little bigger than what you would typically use, but you can find most of these things at, big box stores like Academy, Gander, and all that. So now let's get to the first step. First thing you're going to want to do is come right here to the doe or the deer, and you'll notice right above the knee, there's a tendon and a little thin spot of skin. You're going to want to take your knife and cut you a small slit, not much, 2 inches at the most, into both sides of the deer. Once that's done, we'll spread her apart, put one hook in. Oh my goodness, and the other. Then you can pull her on up. Once you get her strung up here, what you want to do, a good tip, is to take you a piece of string or rope and tie one end of this off to keep the deer from spinning, especially if you don't have any help. If you're doing this by yourself, this is a great way to keep keep your deer stabilized, so you're not constantly fighting it, moving it around. Next thing you're going to want to do is really wash it out really good, especially if you made a bad shot on it. You don't want that stuff sitting inside that deer while you're processing, getting on your knife, and spreading it to other parts of the meat. So before you start skinning and quartering, wash it out really well. Woo! That's close to what you want it to look like inside there. You want to be able to see the color of the muscle. You don't want to be able to see a lot of dry blood, or if you did make a gut shot, bile in there. Okay, so now we're ready to start skinning the deer out. We're going to start up here at the rear end, well, the top, but the rear of the deer, and then work our way down. What I like to do is I like to start right here. I like to take my blade and work this skin back. Be careful not to cut yourself. Take your time and go meticulously. Once I get some loose skin, and this is why I like a longer blade, I work it up the inside of the fur there, turn it up, and I break it out. See how quick and easy that was? Then it gives me a big fold to be able to follow my knife around the leg. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blade and I'm going to go right here along with the rib cage, pulling that meat down. The next step is right here at the top. Now go slow with this step right here. We're going to take our knife and we're going to cut around the leg of the deer. Now here's where you have to be careful. If you've got the deer hung up here, if you cut this tendon right here, the whole deer is going to fall. So we got to be really careful not to do that. Once you've cut around exposing this tendon and the leg, we're going to want to take this fur right here at the top of the butt back. Just about the top of it, and that's all you'll need. We're going to repeat what we did on this side over on this side. Okay, so now we've gotten both sides peeled back and we're ready to start breaking her down. Before we do that, we got 2 more cuts that we need to make. Right here on the front shoulders, you've got some thick fur right here. We're gonna cut a little slit in this and cut right down the leg. We're gonna cut a little slit in this. Good grief, man. Right down the leg. Apologize for the all the blood. A lot of that stuff you just saw was water where we washed it out. Okay. All right, so now that you made those slits, we're gonna come around here to the back side. We're gonna get a tight grip on the hide, on the fur, and just begin to pull her down. And you can get right here in between the muscle and the fur and get your fingers locked in there to get you a good downward pressure. There we go. Just keep on pulling her down. And what you're gonna do as you're breaking the skin down here, you're just gonna be looking for handholds to continually push it on down. And if you're wondering what all this is just a clot. I mean, it's what happens when you put a bullet through an animal. It's a lot of trauma, especially when you put it in the sweet spot where the heart, lungs, and liver are located. There's gonna be trauma there. You're gonna see stuff like this. That's okay. All that can just be cut out or washed out. So once we break her down so far, when we get past the shoulder, you're gonna see a little hole come through right here. I'm gonna get my hand in there, I'm gonna grab this leg, and I'm gonna pull up as I push down, getting the leg exposed all the way down to about right here. Once you get it pulled down so far, go ahead and take your knife and just cut it loose right there. Okay, so right here when you get to this point, you've got some stuff that's grabbing onto the skin here. And if you want to save that neck meat, which I don't mind doing sometimes, it depends on how big the animal is. When you're cutting around this neck area, instead of going straight at it like this, keep your knife flat and go against the skin, bringing it down, putting downward pressure. Again, be conscious of your hands. Okay, so now we've got, as you can see, we've got the skin pulled down about as far as it goes, down to her head. We've got all the hide off the deer that we need to get. It's time to start getting our portions of meat off the animal itself. Now, if you want, where I like to start is the front legs right here. You can see I made a mess of these when I shot her, and they are broken. These are great to save if you like roast, things for your crock pot, if you want to do stew meat, chilies, things like that. This is great meat to save. So first thing we're gonna do is right inside here, you see all this connective tissue? It's real easy. Against the rib cage, come straight down and follow the bone straight along the rib cage, getting that, till it just falls off. And there you've got you 2 roasts, typically. Same thing to the other side. Pull it up, you can see the connective tissue. Work it down the rib cage, along side of the deer, till it falls off there. I really wish I had not made a mess of those shoulders. The next thing I like to do, and this is kind of one of the most important parts of the deer, people, because there's only 2 of them, besides the back straps, which I call them the inner tendies, but a lot of people call them pencil fillets. So if you want to come inside here and take a look at these, a lot of people overlook this or forget about it. These 2 muscles right here, really good to keep. You want to come right up to the top of the crotch bone in here, give it a little cut, and you want to find the spine right there, and just work your knife straight down. They're real easy to take out. Straight down like that. Then once you get one out, you can pull your thumb in there, spread it, be really careful of your fingers. If you get your thumb behind it, put this knife down for a minute. If you get your fingers behind it, you can actually pull these out without even using a knife. And there you go. That is the inner tenderloin. Okay, so now that we've got the inner tenderloins out, it's time to get the real deal, the back strap's off this deer, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. I like to come right to the bottom of the rumps here, right where the skin is, and I like to just take it, cut it straight across, and work my way all the way around to the back, drawing a line across the backbone there. Then you can see this white area here, that's your spine. We're going to take this knife. This is another reason why I like larger knives. We're going to take this knife and just run it straight down the back of the deer. You want to feel the spine on the blade all the way up. Once that happens, we're going to get our thumb in there again, and we're going to start working it. You're going to work from the top down. And you should be able to feel the rib bones on the tip of your blade. You can see how I'm exposing them a little bit right there. You got that. I cut the top loose. You can see the rib cage exposed right there. Just keep pulling it back. It releases very easy. Once you get the top, like this right here, you can actually get your hands in there, pull it away from all this fat and silver skin, and begin. Then you've got a better hold on it as you work it down the rib cage. All right, and cut it loose there at the bottom. And just like that, you've got a beautiful piece of filet mignon, backstrap, whatever you want to call it. This is the best part of the venison besides the heart. Now some people may get a little upset, like, oh, you left all that meat there. You know what? Get over it. Don't kill yourself over an ounce of meat that you might have left on the bone. Beautiful back straps. Okay, so now what you can do is a few things. You can pick at this deer. You can come over here to the front side, like this little bit of skin here, this meat. Work it off the rib cage. You can actually get in between the ribs, pull all that meat out, and you can actually use it for ground if you like. This piece of meat is not a lot, but a little goes a long way. So if you clean this silver skin off the top of this, you can throw it into your grind pile. It's just a little bit of extra meat. Extra ounce goes a long way. So what we're gonna wanna do for this last part of the quartering process, something you're gonna need is a good saw, a good bone saw. What this right here is, these are actually blanks that you can go at a restaurant supply house. They'll cut you a bone saw blade to any length of any hacksaw that you have. You can also go to sporting goods stores. They have some pre-packaged stuff, but I'll tell you, there's nothing better than the real thing when you are going through these bones on these animals. It makes it a lot quicker. If you use the right saw blade, it makes your job a lot easier when you're processing, especially more than one animal. So what we're gonna do now is that neck I was telling you about in the beginning. We're gonna try to save that. It's not much, there's not much meat there on this doe. A nice buck will have a bigger neck that you can use. But this little neck right here will make a nice roast to put in the crock pot or in the oven. So we're gonna get our saw right above. I'm gonna grab her right here on the ears. We'll get this saw right above the fur here, the skin we pulled back. We're just gonna get to going. Cut it right off. So before we get in there on the meat, we wanna get our knife and we wanna expose the bone itself. So after you cut the head off, take your knife and work it around the area that you wanna keep. And just like that, guys, you got you a nice little roast. Okay, so last part, we've got our rear hindquarters. You do a lot with this meat. You can do smoked, you can make roast, you can do steaks, do all kinds of stuff with the muscle groups that are on this. So all we're gonna do is go to the base right here, the base of the spine with our saw, and clip it off. So after the head, the skin, and the torso is completely removed, we're left with the lower half here. And what we're gonna do is we wanna take right down this bone here. If you haven't already done it in the field, we're gonna go through this bone and through the backbone too, separating these two units from each other. And there you have it. We have disassembled our deer. Let's take these off. I'll show you what to do with the rest. Okay, so we got our 4 legs here, the front shoulder legs, the rear shoulder legs. We're gonna take our saw and right above, right where the tendon is, above the fur line, we're gonna cut these off. Okay, so once you've broke the 2 rear quarters in half and you've taken the actual leg off of it, so you just got your big chunk of meat, we want to go in here to where the poop chute was and check out and see if there's any kind of gut or anything left over inside there. This little fat, let's cull all that out. Just to make sure that there is no feces, bacteria. And see, there's one right there. All right, guys, and that's it. Once you've cleaned that out, you can go ahead and put these mugs in a cooler. But you don't want to just throw the raw meat into the cooler and throw ice on top of it. You want to put everything in garbage bags, especially the rear quarters. You want to separate them from the rest of the meat, because if there is any, feces, urine, or bile, or any kind of bacteria that's retaining on these, you don't want that plugged in with the rest of your meat. I've had it before happen where I've gotten home, pulled my meat out of the cooler, and found a couple of pieces of poop in my dang cooler, and I had to throw the whole deer out, because you can't take the risk of infecting yourself or your family with that sort of bacteria. So put them in nice garbage bags. Make sure they're not hot. If you're gonna put them in garbage bags and in a cooler, make sure the meat's chilled out and that all the warm has gotten out of it so it doesn't cook in the bags. Once you get them in the garbage bags, load them up with ice, close the lid, and you're done. Thanks, guys, for being here. I appreciate it. I hope this worked out for you. I hope you all learned something and that you enjoyed what I did. We'll see you on the next episodes of this processing series by taking you into the kitchen and show you how to debone and put these things into freezer bags. See ya.